I asked 12 people over the age of 70 one question. Just one. What do you regret not saying? To someone who needed to hear it. I expected short answers. Polite answers, the kind people give when they don't want to go too deep. What I got instead stopped me completely. Because every single one of them had an answer, ready, like they'd been carrying it for years and were simply waiting for someone to ask. I'm 64 years old, and I've been thinking a lot lately about the words we don't say. Not the cruel ones, those we usually manage to hold back. I'm talking about the other kind, the loving ones, the honest ones. The ones that sit in the chest for years, waiting for the right moment that never quite arrives. I'm proud of you. I forgive you. I was wrong. I love you more than I ever knew how to show. Words that were true for decades. Words that the people we said them to, or didn't say them to, would have given anything to hear. Today, I want to share what those 12 people told me. Their real answers in their own voices. And between their answers, I want to talk about what I think their words are asking of all of us. Stay with me through all 4 of these voices, because the 4th one, an 81-year-old man named Harold, said something that I have not been able to stop thinking about since the moment he said it. It's the kind of sentence that rearranges things. I'll share it near the end, but first, Margaret. Margaret, 74 years old, retired school teacher, lost her mother 11 years ago.
I never told my mother she was right. She spent 30 years telling me to slow down, to stop trying to prove myself, to enjoy what I had instead of always reaching for what I didn't. I spent 30 years ignoring her, thinking she didn't understand ambition, thinking she was settling for less than she deserved and trying to pull me down to her level. She died at 82. 2 weeks before she died, she held my hand and she said, very quietly, "I hope you find what you're looking for, sweetheart." She still didn't know that I had, years earlier. On a Tuesday afternoon that looked like nothing special, I had found exactly what she meant, and I never told her. I never said, "Mom, you were right. I found it, and you were right." 3 weeks after the funeral, I sat in her chair in her kitchen and I said it out loud to nobody, just to the room, just because it needed to be said somewhere.
Margaret's words stayed with me for days after she shared them. Because I think most of us have a version of this, someone who saw us more clearly than we were comfortable with at the time, who offered us something we weren't ready to receive. The words we owe those people don't have to arrive perfectly. They don't have to explain everything. They just have to arrive. Is there someone in your life who was right about you and who never heard you say so? Richard, 79 years old, retired engineer, father of 3.
I never told my son I was sorry for the years I was away. Not physically away. I was there. Every evening, most weekends. But I was somewhere else in my head. Work, mostly. Worry. The low hum of responsibility that never fully turned off. He grew up with a father who was present in the house and absent in the room. And I knew it. Even then, I knew it. I could see it in how he'd try to get my attention and then stop trying. He's 51 now. We have a good relationship. Better than it was, honestly. But I have never sat down with him and said, "I was distracted when you needed me to be present. I knew it then. I'm sorry. I keep thinking I'll say it when the moment is right. My wife asks me what I'm waiting for. I don't have a good answer."
Richard said something after the recording that I keep coming back to. He said, "The longer I wait, the more loaded it becomes. And the more loaded it becomes, the harder it is to start." That's the trap, isn't it? The unsaid thing grows heavier with time, And the heavier it gets, the more it feels like it requires a perfect moment, a perfect setting, perfect words. It doesn't. It requires a Tuesday afternoon and enough courage to begin. 2 more voices after this, and I promised you Harold, 81 years old, the one whose words rearranged something in me. We're almost there. But first, Dorothy, because what she said is something I think every woman over 60 who has spent her life taking care of others needs to hear reflected back to her. Dorothy, 71 years old, retired nurse, grandmother of 6.
I never told my children that I was tired. Not sick, not depressed, just genuinely, deeply tired. For about 15 years in the middle of my life, I was tired in a way I never let anyone see. I kept everything running, kept everyone okay, kept the smile in place because that's what you did. And my children, who are good people, loving people, grew up believing their mother was inexhaustible, that she didn't need anything, that she was fine. They're adults now. And I watch my daughter run herself into the ground the same way I did. Same smile, same "I'm fine." Same exhaustion behind the eyes that she thinks nobody notices. I never told her. I was tired too, and it's okay to say so, and you don't have to do it alone. I should have said that 20 years ago. I'm saying it now, to whoever needs to hear it. You don't have to be inexhaustible. You never did.
Dorothy said something that I think cuts through decades of cultural expectation in a single sentence. She said, "I thought showing them I was strong was the gift. I think now the gift would have been showing them I was human." That reframing from strength as the gift to humanity as the gift is something I've been sitting with since she said it. What would it change in your closest relationships if you let yourself be seen as tired, as uncertain, as someone who needs something?
I never told my wife that she made me brave. She died 4 years ago, 53 years together, and I said everything you're supposed to say. I love you. You're beautiful. I'm grateful. All of it true. But I never said the specific thing, the true thing underneath all the other true things, which is that before I met her, I was afraid of almost everything. Of failing, of being known, of wanting things and not getting them. I was a frightened young man who didn't know he was frightened because he'd been told frightened men were weak and had believed it. And she, without knowing what she was doing, without any particular strategy, just by being exactly who she was and by looking at me the way she looked at me, made me brave. Not all at once, over years, slowly. The way light changes a room. I never told her that. I assumed she knew. I assumed she could see it somehow. She couldn't see it. How could she? I never said it. So I'm saying it now. To nobody. To the air. To whoever is listening. Eleanor, you made me brave. I hope, somehow, you know.
I'm going to give Harold's words a moment, because I think they deserve one. What strikes me most is not the sentiment, though the sentiment is everything. It's the specificity. Not "you made my life better," not "I loved you," but "you made me brave." The specific, true, underneath thing. The one that required him to be seen in a way that felt vulnerable, that required him to admit he had been afraid. That is the word most of us leave unsaid, not because we don't feel it, but because saying it requires us to be known in a way that costs something. And Harold waited 53 years and 4 years of widowhood to say it to the air. The person who needed to hear it is gone. Here is your one action for today. Think of one person, living, someone you can still reach, and one specific, true, underneath thing you have never said to them. Not a general expression of love, the specific thing, the one that requires you to be seen a little more clearly than is comfortable. Write it down first if that helps, then say it. This week, not someday. In person if you can, on the phone if you can't, in a letter if that's the only way, but say it. Because the words we leave unsaid don't disappear, they live in us, and sometimes, if we're lucky, we get the chance to let them out before it's too late. Harold said his to the air. You still have someone who can hear yours. I want to ask you something before you go. What is one thing you wish you had said, or still need to say, to someone who matters to you? You don't have to share the details, but leave something in the comments, even just, "I know exactly what mine is." Because I think naming it, even here, even briefly, is sometimes the first step toward actually saying it. Next time, I want to talk about the other side of this, the things people wish they had never said, and what that tells us about the words worth choosing carefully. I'll see you then.